Since the very first keynote, I was really pumped about the iPhone X. New design, new user interface, no home button, wireless charging, Face ID, there was so much to be hyped about. Well, the day came and I got my hands on the new iPhone X. Well, the first boot felt like it's a new iPhone as the Apple logo was looking great on that AMOLED screen. So after the initial setup and setting up the Face ID instead of the Touch ID, I had all my contents from the old iPhone to the new one, and it was pretty easy as well. Now of course I was pretty used to this home screen layout, but there was a huge difference on the way the app icon looked as it's more crispier. The apps had more details on the text and looked more colorful. It did feel like a whole new experience, and by default the True Tone was also on. I kinda loved True Tone, but it was quite getting in the way when editing and even draining some amount of battery, so I turned that off in a few days. So I quite used my Android and my iPhone as a daily driver, but I quite skipped the 7th variant of the iPhone as it never felt like an upgrade. And I wanted to use my headphones a little longer. So this was an upgrade from the 6S Plus. And boy, it was an upgrade. The feeling was new holding the phone. The screen felt big and the phone felt really small, comparing it to my previous iPhone. It felt like an 8 but looked like an 8 Plus. I could easily use it with just one hand and enjoy the 5.8-inch display. Whereas I may not call it bezel-less as we have more edge-to-edge displays around, I call it eliminating the top and the bottom chins from the older iPhones, keeping the notch. Also, knowing that the iPhone X is water resistant, which is IP67 rated, it's a huge relief as I don't have to worry about spilling water all over it accidentally or dropping it into water. And to protect my beautiful iPhone X, I have multiple cases from Mole Boxes. These cases are just like the Apple silicone cases but has a wider variety of colors and are really cheap too. Coming just under $15, these cases have a slim fit, plus the silicone material won't let your phone slip. Case also protects your phone pretty well. The front part of your phone is below the case, so you won't have to worry about keeping your phone face down. The cutouts are perfect as well. The only downside of this case is that the bottom part of the phone is completely exposed, just like on the Apple cases, but that's negligible. I change these cases regularly according to my mood and even sometimes to resemble our YouTube channel's color. Now let me move towards the notch. I barely notice it there. Like when doing normal stuffs like browsing, texting, using different apps, it's there and I don't mind it at all. But while watching videos, it's there when trying to watch videos on full screen. And the Apple's odd aspect ratio also cuts the top and the bottom part of the video. So if you love watching videos on your phone, you will have to watch it cropped, which is a letdown if you frequently watch videos on your phone. And similarly, the apps and games that are not updated for the iPhone X also looks cropped. But they're getting updated pretty fast, so it's not a huge issue at all. Well, the notch is there and you will have to get used to it, hate it or love it. But it's there for a purpose. It's there to continue the amazing stereo speakers like on the iPhone 7 and 8, and also to house a new way of unlocking your phone, the Face ID. Now the Face ID may sound a big change and might also sound as a gimmick, but I found it to be really seamless and easy to get used to. The looking at your phone and swiping it may sound like a long process, but you won't have to position yourself like on the Touch ID or clean your fingers. You just look and swipe. You will get used to it later. Also, the Face ID is really practical in so many ways. It works with most of my sunglasses and hats, and the best of it all, it also works when I'm wearing my helmet. Now the helmet I wear covers most of my face and still the Face ID works when I look at my phone. That's pretty amazing. The only time Face ID is annoying is when I'm sleeping. It feels like anything. I cannot get used to unlocking my phone when in bed, but I got used to entering the passcode anyway. I have to open my eyes wide open, position it and then unlock. So the passcode is so much easier on that case. Or Apple could have just put a fingerprint scanner on the Apple logo at the back. Now with the new iPhone X, you get a new iOS. It's quite different. You will have to get used to gestures for almost everything. And I got used to these gestures in no time at all. In fact, sometimes I was using gestures on other devices as well. I've covered all about the gestures and new UI on my tips and tricks video, which I will link in the description down below. Oh, before I forget, a quick tip here is you don't have to swipe up from the bottom and then wait to get into multitasking mode. You just swipe up, then right, and here you go. Now upgrading from the 6S, the speakers on this were also a huge upgrade. The stereo speaker sounds amazing while listening to music, watching videos, and also is immersive when playing games. The calls are super clear and other ringtones and alerts are super duper loud as well. And now let's talk about the camera. The dual camera on the iPhone X was amazing. The picture looked amazing, the low light shots were better than the previous iPhones, and the portrait shots looked good from the back camera, whereas it looked a bit odd from the front camera. The colors looked natural and the details were pretty amazing from the front camera as well. Whereas the portrait lighting was of no use, especially when using the last two effects. You can use some manual camera apps like the ProCam and get the best out of the cameras. Now the battery life was a little low on the iPhone X, but you can't blame due to its smaller form factor and bigger display. However, it may not last as much as the 8 Plus, but it does last longer than the iPhone 8. I have had good amount of on-screen time and a great standby too. Things like pairing to car's Bluetooth, regular calls and using apps, and having Wi-Fi, data and Bluetooth on and can easily get you through a day. However, some annoying things were the lack of a headphone jack. That means I could no longer use my earphones while charging. The unoptimized apps, the continued restrictions of the iOS, and the fact that you have to get your fast charger and cables separately. Another little annoyance was if the iPhone did not recognize the face, the pin lock would pop up rather slowly. Sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't, and it's a much of a hassle when handing your phone to someone as a pin lock was rather slow to pop up. And that was my experience on the iPhone X. So that's pretty much it for this video guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, after you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell icon to get all notifications first. Until next time, you guys have a great day.